Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Now I've played and tasted many of the pleasures that Path of Exile has to offer, and so today I feel like I can now tell you guys what my favorite League mechanics are, and the ones I really don't like. Now I haven't tried them all, but I feel like I've tried quite a few. Let's jump straight in. First of all, we got Betrayal. So these are in alphabetical order, by the way. Betrayal, Immortal Syndicate. This is a League mechanic that really broke my brain, honestly. It starts pretty easy, where you just have to kill Syndicate members when they appear in your map. And then there is a fun diversity around activities like transport, fortification, research, that kind of stuff. These guys can drop veiled items, which you then unveil with Jun, and that adds a crafting modifier to your crafting bench. So that part I understand, but then you add the Syndicate member management system, and it really becomes bloated for me. I'll give props to GGG for always reinventing the wheel, that's for sure. But on this one, they absolutely melted my brain. The idea that you could investigate, you could kill, that had effects. There was like these little cords that connected all these people. I don't know. It was a bit too much. I don't think I still fully understand the management part of this mechanic, but I do like the rest. And I like Jun also as an NPC. Jun. I think she's great. So let's put this one in B tier. Roots. I want to talk to you guys about Blight, which is actually one of my favorite mechanics in the game. Sister Cassia can be a pain with her voice lines, but the idea that GGG added a tower defense game in their game blew my mind the first time I encountered it. It does take some getting used to, especially when it comes to the towers and what they can do, but overall I find the mechanic to be extremely approachable for new players. I find it funny that I'm recommending this League mechanic because it also features crafting, which is something I find hard to explain to new players, but where crafting mechanics such as Necropolis are truly mind-boggling, I think the Blight crafting mechanics are quite approachable. Get the oil, use the oils you drop to add modifiers to rings and amulets. The modifiers on the rings improve your Blight capabilities, and the one on the amulets can completely change your build, or improve it in any case. And you can also use these oils to get specific points in your tree, which is crazy. But you don't even have to worry about that if you don't want to. You can just sell the oils. I like that you can't add the modifiers to any other items. It's just, rings and amulets. It keeps things nice and controlled and manageable for my little monkey brain. You can also drop blighted maps, which can be a real challenge, but always fun, in my opinion. So to recap, Blight, you can do the tower defense game, you get oils, you either sell the oils or you use them for crafting, you're done. That's pretty neat to me. So this one goes into A tier. Now we gotta talk about Delirium. This is a mechanic I encountered early on in my PoE experience, and I always enjoyed it without really knowing what I was doing, which is a good sign for me. You go through this gray portal that makes the entire zone monochromatic and spawns new enemies while empowering the existing mobs in the zone. It's neat. A timer starts and you just have to clear as many mobs as you can. The more mobs you clear, the better the rewards. Simple. And you can increase the timer in multiple ways, like opening a strongbox or defeating certain unique bosses. Honestly, easy peasy. Delirium mobs also drop simulacrum splinters, which once you get 300, can be used to open a simulacrum, which is a challenge map, where you need to survive the waves of enemies and defeat bosses. And I've done a few of them, and they are challenging, but I do like the idea that you're working towards bossing opportunities. Nice. I think Delirium is S tier. Now, when it comes to Rock and Stone, I'm no amateur. So let's talk about the Delve mechanic. It's one of the mechanics that I've played the least amount. I've enjoyed a lot of what I've played. It's a tough one for me to describe because it has so many moving parts. I guess the first part is that our good friend Nico, the miner, appears in one of your maps or zones and you start finding azurite nodes for him to mine. The next step is to delve into the mines themselves, using the azurite you looted up above to explore the depth. The exploration of these mines seems to be the main attraction here. As you go further and further, you discover new routes, bosses, and rewards. This ultimately leads to you purchasing resonators from Nico, which you can socket fossils in, and here we are back to crafting. So similarly to Betrayal, I'm astounded at what GGG has done here in terms of creativity, and there is a lot here that I love. I think delving into these mines is fun and it's rewarding, especially when you do this alongside other League mechanics. It's another game inside a game, which ultimately leads to powerful resonators that help folks craft their perfect items. I'm curious as to if pursuing Delve can be a rewarding strategy when it comes to making currency. I'd like to spend more time with Nico in the mines to get a better idea, but for now, in my opinion, Delve is B tier. Now, this next League mechanic really blew my socks off. I'm talking, of course, of Expedition and its dynamite-laced explosive encounters. There are 4 Expedition NPCs that can show up in your map, and you then have to place dynamite wherever you see fit to then start an event where mobs come out of the ground and you have to defeat them all, right? That's kind of the gist of it. That's my understanding anyway. Based on your dynamite placement, mobs will have certain bonuses and rewards. I really like Expedition because of how accessible it is as a concept. You blow these zones up and then you get loot. Nice. So where it gets spicy though is when you realize that the dynamite part is actually only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to expeditions. Now we need to talk about expedition currencies. You drop them during these events I've been chatting about. And some, like the expedition logbooks, allow you to start expedition maps once you bring them to Danig, one of the NPCs. These maps are just entire maps of dynamite-laced action, of spawning one of 4 bosses. And I love that, because what I love about Expedition or even Delirium is that you can challenge yourself by working towards defeating a set of bosses. It's a great little objective that you can set yourself. And before we move on, I do want to talk about another system in this mechanic, and it's related to crafting. It is always crafting in this game, I swear. But this one I really like. You can bring expedition currencies to Rog, one of the 4 NPCs, and they will allow you to buy an item, but also change the modifiers to whatever you need it. So it's kind of like a weird way to craft, where little by little you give him more currencies to get the exact modifiers you want. Now, it's RNG based, but I do love the concept. It brings crafting to a more approachable setting without being the main draw of Expedition. And for those reasons, I think Expedition is A tier. Harvest. This is a tough one. Before I dived into Harvest, I checked out the original trailer and I was so excited. It seemed like GGG had merged the concept of Farming Simulator and Animal Crossing into Path of Exile, with a sprinkle of Stardew Valley. And it reminded me of the tower defense they added in Blight. So you can imagine my surprise when I realized that Harvest had completely changed since its first release. You click on a portal in your map that brings you to a place called the Sacred Grove. You choose what color you want to farm and you kill those mobs. Yay, that's about it. That's not very exciting, is it? I guess the cool part comes with the crafting. The idea is that there is a horticrafting station, which is a renamed crafting bench, really, which allows you to trade the crystallized life force, which drops from monsters in the Sacred Grove, against powerful crafting options that modify your items in funky ways, such as reforging the modifiers while keeping all prefixes, or changing fire resistance for cold resistance. Ultimately, it's less of a full-on crafting method like Necropolis, and more of a tweaking and control crafting method that allows myself, players to modify the items with less RNG than other currencies that you might use. My issue with Harvest, though, is that it's just boring compared to Delve or Blight or Expedition. I think that's why it's quite lucrative to farm them. I don't know if many people like to do this. Now, the best thing that came out of Harvest, in my opinion, is that you can gamble on divination cards. And God, I love doing that, especially when they're not mine. So anyway, for those reasons, I think Harvest is C tier. Time to jump into the old forgotten temples and chat about Incursion. The Temple of Azoatl? I'm not even going to try. Incursion. This is the League mechanic where you encounter Alva, and she throws you into a timed temple room, which you need to clear. I originally encountered Alva in my first playthrough, and I called it the Indiana Jones League, and I wasn't far from the mark. So the idea here is that you are building a temple map This temple is filled with rooms, and when Alva throws you into one of these rooms, if you defeat the architect in there, or you use a stone of passage to open a room, that will impact the final temple map that you can do at the end. The twist here is that you are going back in time to change the rooms before finally going back to the future, back to the present, into them in the current time in the temple. You open a door in the past, so the door stays open in the present. Does that make sense? So this allows you to build the temple based on what you want to drop, and you go from there. It's a really smart idea and a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of GGG. Unfortunately, I just don't like it. I think it has to do with the fact that in most of my experiences, I would work really hard on building a fantastic temple map only to get nothing out of it. I guess there might be too much RNG for me, and that really is unfortunate. I really like Alva and the design of this league. I'm not sure it's worth it for me. Too many hoops to jump in, if that makes sense. If you love Incursion, please tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. I want to love it, but I just don't. It's D tier, unfortunately. Sorry, Alva. Legion. The Legion mechanic. It's a fun one for me, for similar reasons to why I enjoyed Delirium. It's just really straightforward stuff. When you encounter a monolith in a map, it reveals armies frozen in time in battle. You kill these harmless, frozen mobs as fast as you can while the timer goes, and once it reaches 0, the mobs you killed come back to life and can be fought for rewards. Now, the really cool part is that you get specific currencies, which, when you put them together, create emblems, which are Legion-specific maps with Legion-specific bosses, which I love the idea of. This is the one that seems to me to have the most lore to dive into. Each of these battles is a big deal for Rayclast, and to get to fight the commanders of these armies is awesome. Each boss has a loot table with plenty of uniques to play around with, although it does feel quite strange to have so many uniques considering many builds don't use them. It's a bit of overkill, don't you think? So yeah, I really like this one for its simplicity, but also for the gravitas of the lore surrounding them. At the end of the day, I'm a lorehead, so yeah, this is good. I'm sure it could be considered a little bare bones when you compare it to Delve, for example, but yeah, it's my jam. I like it. That's why Legion is B tier. I've played a lot more of the game since my last Necropolis video, and I haven't changed my mind around the crafting side of this league. It's simply a lot. I also think that because of the Lantern of Aramor, they've just made this league even more opaque for new players, which is a real shame. It's hard for me to tell new players to come in the game right now because it's quite hard. Not to mention the crafting is just silly at this point. The amount of hoops you have to jump through to get something worthwhile is crazy. And sure, you can get some really good items, but it's a real hassle. That being said, there is a part of this league that I really like, and I'm talking, of course, of the Lantern of Aramor. Those modifiers, I actually really like them in endgame. So for new players, not so great when they're playing the campaign for the first time. But when you get to the mid-game, endgame, the Lantern of Aramor can be really fun, but only once you spec a few points in the Atlas tree, I think. You can get some pretty crazy positive modifiers like extra Chaos Orbs and other currencies, even Divines, and I'm all for that. Not to mention that you can also find All Flame Embers in the game that drop from any mob, and those can boost your rewards by changing the mobs to frogs or rats. That's cool. If GGG had made this league more about that part of the game and less about the crafting, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Unfortunately, you do need to spec points in your Atlas tree to make it worthwhile, in my opinion, and you can't really not engage with it because it's obligatory for all your maps. So, yeah. It's honestly a bit of a chore. So for those reasons, Necropolis, I want to put it in C, but I think it's going to have to be a D. Sad days. And there you have it. This is my tier list of all the league mechanics I've engaged with fully. Now, I guess we could do a quick round at the end with some that are a bit less of an impact in terms of size of the league it was introduced with, but still exist in the game. Really quickly, I've engaged for sure with Breach. I think Breach is great. I'm going to put it in B. Very similar to Legion in a way. You just you go to the hand, a breach opens, and you go around looking for loot and killing as many mobs as possible. Those are great. Breach stones are fun, although they don't work for every build. So yeah, breach, love it. We've got Torment. So when I look at Torment, I'm only thinking about these ghost guys. I don't love them, especially not with my Ballista build. I don't think they're that fun. So yeah, I think I'm going to put them in C. No, it's a D tier. I don't like them that much. At least they're straightforward, but not for me. Essences, though, ooh, A tier. And I'll tell you why. Essences were one of the first ways that I figured out I could make money. And for me, that's worth a lot. So yeah, essences are a really great noob-friendly way to make some dough, especially at the beginning where you understand nothing. So essences, awesome. Love them. It's also great because it's a new way to reroll modifiers when you're crafting. Love it. Bestiary, I just haven't played enough of, unfortunately. Heist, I haven't played enough of. I've played a bit, but not enough. Is there anything else here? Abyss. Oh, I do love Abyss. I do love Abyss as a concept. It's going to go in B tier because I haven't gone enough into the idea of the loot and the belts and the eyes and all that. But I love the mechanic of it I love the idea that you run around the map looking for this green dot. It's quite engaging, and then you kill all the mobs and then you get the loot. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Abyss, B tier. Any other ones? Ultimatum is a good idea. So I've only played Ultimatum, like the challenges. It's a good idea. I don't know if I love it, though. I'm going to put it in C tier. Maybe it's just because I'm bad. And I keep dying. I keep pushing that envelope. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think that's all the stuff that I've actually really engaged with to enough extent that I feel like I can put it on this tier list. So what do you think? Do you agree? Do you agree from the perspective of like this new player who's played less than a year? What do you guys think? I have less than 1,000 hours in this game, and I've still so much to discover. I'm a big believer that having an open mind to new perspectives is a great tool in life. So please change my mind in the comments. I am open to your ideas. Which one is your favorite mechanic, and why is it delirium? Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and we will see you in the next video. I'm probably live right now. Go check me out on Twitch/NixVellum. I'll see you there. Bye.